Hello, Lynn Watts here with Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books. And today I want to talk about perfectionism and also about growth versus fixed mindset, because that's really what comes into play when we talk about perfectionism. So, perfectionistic children usually are someone who can't stand to make a mistake, dissolves into tears, or maybe throws a tantrum if whatever they're working on doesn't work out just so. So, in other words, they have a lot of trouble handling things that aren't exactly like they want them to be or exactly like they think they should be based on maybe comparing it with someone else. Um, and their emotions usually get in the way. And it makes it very hard for them to learn new things, to enjoy learning new things, because things have to be perfect. So it often means that these children will then eventually avoid things that are too challenging. If they're afraid they're going to make a mistake, they simply won't try. They have a lot of frustration with even very small errors, and they have a lot of negative self talk. And so I think that's where we want to sort of come in, is talking about mindset, about self talk, about what they believe about themselves and what they believe about the world. One of the things that I have done to help with that process is to develop mindset cards. You can find these on my website, wyattthewonderdog.com. You could, of course, make cards like this yourself. But I think that this is the kind of thing that, in working with a child, either in a counseling session or just, it can be almost a game. It could be something you could do in a classroom as a parent, as something you could talk about around the dinner table, is to give examples of different things that we kind of either say to ourselves or we hear other kids or even adults talk about or say, and whether or not that is something that makes sense to believe. All right, is that true? So the cards, it's 24 cards. 12 of them are fixed mindset, or a negative, you could call it a negative mindset, and 12 are a growth mindset. So some examples of a growth mindset are, I'll keep trying different strategies. All right. So that idea that you can, you know, if one thing doesn't work, you try something else. It's not the end of the world. Making mistakes is how I learn. Okay. Growth mindset. Um, I'm training my brain to read. My brain can learn new things. All right. So the whole idea of the brain being, vehicle for learning, for changing, for even making learning from making mistakes. All right. So some examples of a negative or a fixed mindset would be, I can't figure out how to solve this problem. Okay. So giving up. I'm a loser. Okay. There's another one that matches this that says, I'm a learner. All right. So each one of the negative or fixed mindsets have a positive or growth mindset. This is too hard for me. So again, giving up. I'm worried I'll make a mistake. All right. So using cards like this can be a way to help a child develop a different mindset that they can then and develop some phrases or some, you could even call it a mantra or a way to think about learning that they can repeat to themselves at a time when things aren't going perfectly. All right. There are a few other strategies that you certainly could use in addition to um, helping to change a mindset. I think that's the kind of foundation, the key one. But you can normalize struggle, which of course is part of the mindset idea, but simply that I can do hard things, that there are hard things in life. I think that unfortunately in our culture, we have come up with this idea that life should not be hard or difficult or frustrating or sad or unhappy or all these different emotions, that instead we should always feel competent and in charge and happy, all these things, whereas all that whole spectrum of emotions are much more normal. And it's a matter of learning to cope and knowing that things will change. That I think there's been examples where we've talked about emotions are like the weather. If you don't like it today, there's another one coming. All right. So, emotions are not who we are. These are things that we feel. Focusing on effort, not on outcome. The effort that you put in, keep trying and that sort of thing, as opposed to always looking for success. Setting realistic goals and teaching positive self-talk and creating safe space for mistakes. I think all of those are important ways that we can help kids that tend to be perfectionistic, and certainly developing a growth mindset, either using some mindset cards or simply coming up with some different phrases that you can help a child repeat to themselves can be very helpful. As always, I want to say thanks for listening and thanks for all the important work that you do with young children.